everybody, and welcome to another live episode of Strong Style here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by my brother there in Orlando. Dude, we've got a third member of the Strong Style crew, Aaron Turner. First of all, how are you? And who's our third member?
Well,
who is the third man?
Our third man is right here.
Oh,
it's Baloo, our new puppy, Baloo. Look at him. And of course, in Strong Style fashion, you can't really tell, but he's got an Austin 316 collar going on right now. So
look at that. He's so chill.
He's
such a chill dog.
He's the newest member of our family. He's a Italian Mastiff mix. So he's going to be a big boy. Look at them paws.
Oh my God. Good God.
He's 7 weeks old. He's a big boy.
But look, he's already like kind of just chilling out, looking at everything, observing everything. Doesn't seem to be unsettled by anything and not barking like crazy. So
no, my sister-in-law got his brother and he's insane. So
okay.
So we got the my wife wanted the biggest, fattest one they had, and this is what we got.
Woman after my own heart. That's for sure.
So I'm going to pass him off, and we can continue the show like really.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Hi.
We're by the way, that's an awesome third man to have. But we've got a real third man joining us. Aaron announced it last week on Twitter. I wasn't going to announce it till next week, but we've got a surprise appearance, kind of a taste of our third man who's going to be joining us from now on Strong Style. He is known as the Darkitect. He's one of the hosts of the Store Horseman. He's a producer for wrestling shows as well, a knowledgeable guy who's been around the business for quite some time and owns t-shirts, wrestling t-shirts, classic wrestling t-shirts galore, and it's got fashion and style. And we're excited to welcome him to our show officially. Ladies and gentlemen, the Darkitect, Chris Burns. What's up?
You may not know who I am, but you should know why I'm here.
There it is.
What's up, you pencil neck geeks? We're all together. It's beautiful. What's happening?
Thank God for a rainstorm, or else we would have Chris debut next week. But he's here today. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. Chris, it's great to see you. It's great to have you join the team here, man. Both Aaron and I were excited to welcome you on. And I wanted to tell the fans exactly your experience with pro wrestling, why you're into pro wrestling, what you've been doing around the pro wrestling world for the last few decades. Talk to us, please, and talk to the fans.
It's been quite a journey. Before I get started, Aaron, I got a present for your new puppy. You said he's an Italian Mastiff.
He is.
So we got We'll strip it down. We'll strip it down to his size.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, you kind of covered it, man. I mean, I've been a fan since I was a little boy.
Yeah.
As we all have, stuck with it throughout the years. Kind of fell off in college until I started working at the world famous Comedy Store as a manager over there. And of all people, Roddy Piper used to hang out at the store constantly. And we sort of developed a friendship over the years, got me back into the business because he's always wanted to talk about the business.
Right.
And it's kind of been on ever since. And we started the Store Horseman podcast after Roddy passed away as sort of a tribute to him.
Yeah.
And since then, we've done a handful of live shows. We put a ring inside the Comedy Store and did a live wrestling show.
Wow.
So, I've been covering wrestling for the past 10 years, been a lifelong fan. And, entrenched in many different ways, as you guys will find out as we keep going. And then the vintage shirts is clearly a hobby.
I'm a fan.
What was the last thing I knew you were working on? Was it Bruce Pritchard show? What was the last show you were working on that was wrestling related with iHeart? Is that correct? Am I wrong on that?
The last show that I was a part of was called Wrestle Fetish, which was kind of an evolution of the Store Horseman podcast.
Gotcha.
So scheduling things, we'll be back like in April probably with that podcast. But for now, I'm a free agent. I'm Johnny Gargano.
That's
I'm
right.
Bray Wyatt. I'm whoever needs me right now.
Yeah, you're John Moxley showing up to wrestle like he's gonna be wrestling. But yeah, somebody said I'm wearing NWO. I'm not. I'm wearing LWO, son. The Latino World Order. Come on now. Get it together, Grimash. Open your eyes. What are you wearing, Aaron? What have you got to show for yourself?
I'm just wearing a red Nike shirt.
Oh, son come on.
But hold on. I have my black Undisputed Era hat.
Yeah.
at the guy at the NXT live event that sold this to me said, "Yeah, it's vintage now." I was like,
"R.I.P." That's for sure. We're going to get into all kinds of things here now that Chris is joining the show. We're jumping into all kinds of stuff. Aaron's created a fantastic rundown. We're going to jump into some WWE news. Alexa Bliss coming back. Talk some MLW suing WWE. Corey Graves thinking he can still wrestle again after all this time away from things. We're going to get into some Aew Dynamite, a little bit of Rampage, possibly news as well. Somebody named Brody King, I think you know him, has come to AEW, shocked the world, joining the House of Black there. We're going to get into so many things here on the channel, on the show. And Deonna Purrazzo beating Roxy for the ROH Women's title, the Ring of Honor Women's title. All of it's going to be discussed here on the show. Just want to remind you all, the Streamlabs and the Super Chats are open. So send it in. It is pinned in the chat. It's in the description of this video, and it's right there on the screen. So let's get it going. Aaron Turner, what's our first news topic today?
Well, and also, guys, my birthday is Monday, so send in all the StreamYards and Streamlabs you can, and then don't give any to John Rocha, just me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make sure some of it gets to Aaron. Absolutely.
I'm kidding.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so let's start off with this odd news of the week, which is MLW. If you don't know what that is, that's Major League Wrestling, is suing World Wrestling Entertainment for allegedly poaching talent and preventing television deals. Now, the CEO of MLW is Court Bauer, who used to be a WWE producer.
Yeah.
And the suit alleges that Vince McMahon urged Vice TV and other outlets to not work with MLW. The suit also alleges that WWE buying WCW, like 20 years ago, and essentially creating a wrestling monopoly. MLW was preyed upon by the larger WWE in terms of TV deals and talent, making it hard for them to get talent. MLW is seeking a jury trial for damages, including irreparable harm through its anti-competitive and torturous conduct. So as I'm going through this, guys, I don't know, maybe we can start with you on this one, Chris, get your thoughts. Is this a bunch of hot air, or is there something here?
Vince McMahon doing improper labor practices? No, you have to be kidding me. Not the man who's been employing independent contractors for over 50 years and not calling them employees and not having to give them benefits and not paying for their health care. Not that guy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Yeah. Where there's smoke, do I think there's fire in this situation? Absolutely, 100%. I think that the WWE has had a long history of sort of backdoor situations where they've tampered with people's contracts, talked to free agents kind of before they shouldn't. How else do we get such surprise guests over the years and things like that? I don't put anything past the business practices of Vince McMahon, but I will say this. You want to talk about a streak, forget about The Undertaker, forget about Goldberg. Yeah. In lawsuits, Vince McMahon, undefeated.
Yeah. Rarely gets defeated, that's for sure. This is a very interesting decision and brought about by an executive who used to work at WWE. So you imagine she's got some insider information big time that she can use to her benefit here in this situation. And you wonder in the end what it's going to lead to. Are we going to get what we think we're going to get, which is Vince kind of being called out? Yeah, you say he's been on a run, but even The Undertaker lost eventually as he got older. And Vince is what's Vince is 75 almost. Like Vince is up there. So will he be able to fight back? He's got those predatory lawyers who have been spoken about on numerous Dark Side of the Rings and those A&E biographies where people talk about how his lawyers are pretty strong people who love to mess with people and know exactly how to work the industry here. So is this one that could actually put him on his heels, put him against the ropes possibly? I wonder. Depends on how strong Susan Levinson is in pursuing this situation and how many, how can I say this? How many nefarious practice she's willing to participate in to try to get information to go after Vince. It's a dangerous thing when you're coming after the king. You best not miss.
Yeah, and it's something else you got to learn. Like we learned from Dark Side of the Ring, and if you follow any kind of like behind the scenes WWE stuff, like through the years, the steroid trials, and Marty Jannetty's lawsuit and stuff like that, is that they have Jerry McDevitt, and Jerry McDevitt beat the United States government. And what makes you think he won't beat MLW? So I don't know who MLW has on retainer. I don't know what their attorney situation is like. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to defend WWE and say they didn't do anything, but half the battle is, trying to prove your case in court and win. And going up against Jerry McDevitt is like going up against a Brock Lesnar in the courtroom, because he will mess you up. So something tells me that there is probably merit to a lot of what they have to say here. But then again, we're also dealing with disgruntled employees and stuff like that, like rumors and stuff like that. So Vince McMahon, not only, when WWE bought out WCW, they crushed the entire industry. It wasn't just like, oh, MLW here, it wasn't MLW there. Like somehow Impact / TNA has survived for like 20 years. I don't know how, but they've done it. And they're unburdened by the WWE. So why is MLW so burdened when Impact isn't? I know that it's not the same in terms of money cost, like people that own the company, but it seems to be like other organizations are thriving and MLW is just, like being left out in the cold. Yeah, they've got some good talent there. They've got, Hammerstone and Joseph Fatu, and they've got some good people. And they've had some people that come in and out of there. I mean, MJF was in MLW for a bit.
Right.
They've had people. So to me, it seems like a crying baby situation. So
we'll see. Yeah, Chris, do you think this is an effort by them to kind of ride the coattails a little bit of the WWE by punching up and trying to get attention for themselves and maybe get more eyes on them, maybe in that kind of weird way, lure talent to MLW? Because it doesn't seem like they've got a really strong case here to win. I mean, how many judges really want to dive in deep into the nefarious practices of a pro wrestling organization? I don't know that there are that many judges that are going to spend their weekends and their nights off reading up on all the stuff and the ins and outs of the wrestling business. This is something I think Vince has kind of used to his benefit. So do you think this thing has any shot at all?
I wouldn't be surprised if eventually MLW becomes the new developmental system for WWE.
There you go. Can't beat them, join them.
But to your point, absolutely. I think that, a lot of, to Aaron's point also, a lot of promotions have been making noise during this whole wrestling multiverse thing that seems to be happening. Forbidden doors opening all the way to the point where I've even walked through the door here on this podcast. So it's like, how else are we going to get noticed if nobody's like sort of participating? There's been no real talent exchanges with MLW, even though, like you said, they do have a lot of talent there that is good, but no one's really talking about them. GCW is getting more love than them these days. So it's kind of like, how else can we make some noise? Let's throw some rocks at the throne. And then people be like, oh, there's something going on over there. Maybe we should pay attention.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of Susan Levinson's testimony, or if they're going to force her to testify, a hostile witness. I don't know, because she's named in the lawsuit as the person who revealed this stuff to Vice TV. So, Aaron, it seems, I don't know. I don't know what her stake in all of this is. Is she going to be a cooperative witness? Will she take the fifth? Will she actually testify for MLW against Vince? Pretty influential person from what we're reading here, has been influencing the company for the last couple of years, then was let go earlier last year. So does she have an axe to grind here? Or do you think she's one of these people that's a company person and doesn't want to go against the company she was just at for fear that she might not get hired at another company because she's willing to turn state's evidence on that company?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question, isn't it? Like, my law degree extends as far as 20 plus years of watching Law and Order Special Victims Unit. So it's like, I don't really know. I don't really have an extensive legal knowledge, but it does sound like that, right? It does sound like a disgruntled employee. That's what I feel like. And if they're going to subpoena this person, obviously you have to show up or you go to jail. That's how that works. So I think eventually we're going to get a bunch of smoke. They'll be like, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't hear that. So
yeah, it sounds like, because these conversations seem to be off the record. They weren't official conversations. We were sending them emails. Right. It was conversations off the record. Right. And so it depends how cooperative she is. If she's really cooperative, she'll start naming names and they can start going after or subpoenaing these other executives or former executives, the WWE, see what they say under oath.
And if you're off the record, it's hearsay.
Yeah.
That's a legal term for it. It's hearsay. So that doesn't hold up in a court of law.
Or as Ice-T might say on SVU, yo, that's hearsay, man.
That's not how Ice-T talks.
That's how Ice-T talks every episode, for God's sakes. What, man? All right. Anyway, we got a super chat that came through here. We'll keep tabs on the MLW lawsuit for sure. Empire Fan 1980 says Royal Rumble's coming up. That's right. One of us is going, and it ain't the two of me, and it ain't me and Aaron is coming up. And Paige has been teasing that she is getting back in the ring. You think we will see her? Would they announce it or be a surprise? You know, this kind of connects to a story we're going to talk about a little bit later, but let's get your thoughts on this. We'll go to you first here, Chris. Do you think Paige comes back? Would she be risking her neck? She's been dropping these little hints. Do you think it's all just snow, or do you think it's real?
I mean, never say never.
Yeah.
Anything's possible, it seems like, with modern medicine. I mean, we got Bryan Danielson wrestling world title matches in AEW. We thought we would never see him again. We all shed the tears. We all said goodbye. We all loved him as the GM. Yeah. And then here he is, 2022, and he's one of the best in the business, in my opinion. And so, you know, I know we're going to talk about Corey Graves later. And so I don't see any reason why it's not a possibility, even though the WWE and wrestlers themselves love to work the fans a little bit and try to tickle their balls a little bit and see if we might, you know, get excited about something or two. But the other thing is WWE doesn't seem to have enough women for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So
good point.
I could have swore when I counted all the people that were announced, it wasn't quite 30.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe so. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is something that Aaron mentioned last week. We were doing the numbers of how many women they might have in the WWE to be in the Royal Rumble. We didn't get to 30 by a long shot. So, Aaron, do you think Paige is a possible? I mean, Edge came back. Matt Hardy's still alive after that head bump he took. Somehow, yeah. So, you tell me, do you think Paige risks this by coming back?
Well, I think last week we were up to 17 that would have been announced, 17 that were eligible, and I think they got to 19 this week, so still got 11 to go. But I don't know, because it feels like one of those things. It's like every year we hear about this, every 6 months, like this pops up. Like Paige will put up something that isn't necessarily like I'm healing, like maybe she's like working out or something, and somebody's like, "Oh, she's coming back," or maybe she's just working out. Like people do that. So I would love to, because I'm a big Paige fan. I love the anti-diva Paige and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, dude. Like every time I see Edge and every time I see Bryan, more so Edge than Bryan, I just think like they're one suplex from like wheelchair.
Right.
And I don't know. I haven't looked enough into Paige's injury to know if it's the same as Bryan's, if it's the same as Edge's. I'm not sure if they're comparable. But listen, I love stuff too. I love wrestling. I love video games. I love football. And I've played football like when I was a kid, but like, I don't love it enough. And maybe that's the difference between me and them, is like, I don't love it enough to risk my life for it. Like, I don't love it enough for that. So I'd be happy getting paid and sitting on the sidelines, but that's just me. I don't know how these people are. I know Paige comes from a wrestling family,
right?
And that's how she grew up and everything. So to me, it's not worth it. The juice is not worth the squeeze. But she's also very young, so maybe her body heals faster. I don't know. So,
and the wear and tear maybe wasn't for years and years and years, and then she got an injury. Right? She was pretty young when she got the injury, and so has she recovered? And here's her Twitter. Says right there, she's like, okay, Thea Trinidad, who also came back to the WWE after being let go, says, can I borrow that crown, sis? # 4 days. And then retweets the Corey Grave, or quote tweets the Corey Grave page trending thing. So she's getting people excited, as Chris mentioned here. She's tickling some balls here. Is she going to come back? I don't know, but I would be scared for Paige to come back. I think she's built a hell of a following on her own outside of the WWE. She's got that certain thing that people just want to follow her. Yes, she's attractive. Yes, and all that, but she's also her own woman, very strong woman and all of that. So she's built her thing, and she doesn't have to come running back to the WWE. So you have to ask yourself, as Aaron said, does she want to risk this kind of injury again and possibly put herself in a worse situation? Because you don't want to get that neck in a worse condition, end up in a wheelchair. That's bad on so many levels, So not saying anything wrong with anybody in a wheelchair. Obviously, I'm just saying it would affect her and negatively, of course. All right, let's keep going, Aaron. Sir, Chris, what do you got?
Oh, I was going to say, if I'm not mistaken, are both Bella twins in the Royal Rumble?
They both are.
Okay, so there was a neck situation with one of them, right?
Yeah.
With
Nikki, yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about people who don't need to wrestle ever,
right?
You're right.
They're sure enough in it. They're announced, so we're gonna see. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna see them in St. Louis,
right?
And so I don't know, man. It just seems like Paige's passion is to be a wrestler. And so,
and I respect that. I totally respect that.
Yeah, it's fair. All right, let's move on to our next story here. And please remember, ladies and gentlemen, the Streamlabs Super Chats are open. It's Aaron's birthday. Throw some cash to the Streamlabs, ladies and gentlemen. Throw some cash up in this B. All right, what do we got, Aaron?
All right, so it came out this week, which apparently in further research, it's been known for a while, that Corey Graves is cleared for in-ring action if warranted. Corey Graves hasn't wrestled since April of 2014 after defeating Sami Zayn in NXT. Of course, he's a former NXT Tag Team Champion with Neville, or PAC in AEW. Announced his retirement in December of 2014 in NXT, and he's been on the commentary team for NXT Raw and SmackDown ever since. Graves cited Edge as a big inspiration for him to continue to train for the possibility of return. But I do want to stress that as of this moment, this was reported by Sean Ross Sapp. I should give credit where it's due. Fightful.com. There are no current plans for Corey Graves to wrestle. This is just that he's cleared. He is able to if needed, or if he wants to, I guess, or if they have something for him. But he, as of this moment, he's not factored into plans. So, I mean, it's good news. I like stuff like that. Let me just take this one real quick. But in 2014, when Graves was kind of in that area of concussions, I was at a NXT house show in Florida, and I was kind of like doing my little amateur wrestling journalism sleuthing. And I talked to him because at that time Corey was injured and he was learning the behind the stage stuff. He was pulling cords, like he was plugging shit in. He wasn't like hanging out with Bailey and Charlotte, which everybody was flocking to. He was, like getting stuff ready. So I went over there and I talked to him and I was like, "Hey man, how's it going? Big fan." And he said, "Oh, good. And I said, "How's the recovery coming?" Because he just had the concussion. Yeah. And he just kind of looked at me and like put his head down. He's just like, "It's going really slow, man." Damn. And I just saw like the look on his face. I was like, "Oh boy, this isn't going to be good." And then shortly after that, like they did the ESPN like mini doc about him and Xavier Woods and Leo Kruger. And it was like, that's when he retired. So I kind of knew something was amiss with Corey Graves, but I always liked him. I always liked him in NXT because, he was unique. He was he was a unique character. He did the stay down on the knuckles and the whole filth parade gimmick. I was into it. I like that. So I do want to see him back. Again, man, at 37. Yeah. It's not trying to be ageist, but it's not young in wrestling years.
Shaq said it, man. 37 ain't 27, bro. Yeah,
it's true. So I mean, then again, here we go. But look at Edge and look what Edge has done. Is Edge like Corey Graves? I don't know, but I would like to see him do one more thing other than winning the 24/7 title. So if he can come back and be in the Royal Rumble, something like that, that's a cool moment. So I'm for it.
Yeah, Chris, is that enough? Is it enough for Corey to come back to a few rounds in the Royal Rumble or something just for a little bit? Is it just the thing where he's been watching it for so long as a commentator that he wants to get in there? Because there have been all kinds of stories about how much politics he puts into commentating. Certainly we heard from Jonathan Coachman in that interview saying how Corey Graves essentially pushed him out of the company when he came back because he wouldn't help him, wouldn't work with any of his gimmick or any of the storylines or gimmicks that he wanted to run. So is this a case of cake and eating it too, or does he just want to come back for a little bit and then roll back to the sideline to do commentator? What do you think?
I say get the pop and then sit back down. Like what? Okay, everyone would be excited to see him in the Rumble. Oh my God, what a great moment. Like I said, he's going to get the pop. Everybody's going to love it. And then you know what? Do you think they're going to do anything meaningful with you after that? I just don't. What are you going to fight Booker T? You know what I mean? Like, there's no real story that's just like, oh, super exciting. Edge, made all the sense in the world to come back and work, a somewhat real schedule. I think even Paige would, but Corey Graves, I mean, like you said, his credits include out of NXT being a 24/7 champion, unless there's about to be a big feud with him and the flippy sommelier guy.
Reginald?
Yeah. What's the point? Get your pop and then go back to the desk.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't understand why you do this. You're successful outside the ring and really one of the best commentators. Watching AEW, Jericho, I just want to slam my head into a wall when he calls matches. Taz is a little bit better than that, but like Corey Graves has really kind of separated himself and stood out. One of the really good ones that was able to make the transfer. And yeah, the reasons for it suck, but you haven't skipped wealth. Like, you're fine. Why would you want to risk getting back in this ring and possibly damaging yourself again? Is it an ego stroke? I'm with Chris. Go in there, get into the Royal Rumble, stay for about 10 minutes, and then roll on out of there. You know, you don't need to do anything more than that. Get eliminated, stand there, look up, let the audience give you some love, and then walk on back and then call some of the other matches later on down the pay-per-view. So to me, that's the smarter move. But, you know, these people, their life, some of them are lifers. Some of them just want to be in that ring, Aaron, and they want to kind of feel the fire again. And Sami Zayn still doing his thing. So he could pick a feud to jump into there if he wanted to, I imagine.
Well, you know what's funny about it? Like, what really kind of gave me pause on this was Carmella was tweeting about, like, you know, we got this feud going on with Beth Phoenix, Edge, Miz, and Maurice. And she was like, what if we added another power couple to the thing? And I was like, oh boy. So let me just track this really quick.
Carmella, she's trying to throw herself in everything.
let me write this down. Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix, Hall of Famer Edge, two-time Grand Slam champion The Miz, on Dancing with the Stars, has national television show with Hot Wife, former Divas champion on national television. Corey Graves, the commentator. It's like, what the hell are you even talking about? So, I love Corey Graves. I think that Chris is exactly right. Get the pop and sit down, because you're a good commentator. Just do that. Just do that.
Do the JBL spot.
Yes.
Stand up,
come up from the table, desk, take your stuff up and do it.
Roll out. Yeah. Sit down. We're done.
There you go.
Pull the Michael Cole, just go in for one match and get the hell out. Zeno Hour says, what if Corey does matches in NXT 2.0? Could that work? No, because he is from the past. NXT 2.0 is all about the future, man.
He's probably 15 years older than the youngest person in NXT 2.0. That's not no offense, but I'm just like, honestly.
Yeah.
That's where they're going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, senior. I could see Corey Graves coming like Jerry the King Lawler, be the color commentary while frequency wrestler here and there frequently wrestling here and there in a short feud. Yeah, absolutely. Lawler was always able to come in and come out and no problem. So maybe he could do that. That's for sure. All right, let's see here if we got any Streamlabs or super chats. Yeah, John Alexander. Thank you, John. He says, how do you guys geek about how they did? Okay, you guys got to check your spelling and your words, for God's sakes. He's saying, how do you guys feel about how they did Wardlow getting rolled up after 9 power bombs? You can say it was for the story, but it made him look like a chump. Should they have maybe did a DQ to protect Wardlow? Should we put a pin in this one, Aaron, and get back to it later?
Let's put a pin in that. I have strong feelings as well.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's move on to our next thing. And keep sending in the Streamlabs and super chats that's pinned in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Give Aaron some love. All right, where are we going, brother?
All right, so we're moving on to Alexa Bliss. She made her return to Monday Night Raw, and we like Alexa Bliss on this show for the most part.
We do like Alexa Bliss.
So even though we pretty much buried her in our year-end recap, at least I did. I thought she had the worst gimmick, worst match, like just awful stuff from Alexa Bliss, which is not her fault. She didn't write this crap. So they bring her in to do this like psychology thing with the doctor, and she's still doing the evil gimmick. We're still seeing the Lily doll. She's doing supernatural stuff, and I think a lot of us thought that we were going to get the goddess back, like, you know, the athletic cheerleader type Alexa Bliss that goes out and does her thing and wins, and it's fine, and she can be like the little bitch and all that kind of stuff, and we like it. This ain't it, man. This is not what I want. Maybe we'll get there eventually. Like, hey, let's let it play out. That's the famous words of wrestling fans. Yeah, let's let this whole thing play out. But she's been gone for months, right?
Yeah.
And we thought, okay, well, she's gone. She's getting a character change. We see vignettes. Okay, maybe Alexa's getting repackaged. And no, same stuff, different day. So is she done? Is she done, guys? Like, is Alexa Bliss done in the consciousness of WWE? Like, this sucks. This is awful.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris. What were you going to say?
Done, strong word. I feel like Bliss is, I mean, ironically enough, somewhat like Bray Wyatt in the sense that no matter what they give her, she can generate this popularity with the fans.
Truth.
Because she's so good. She's a good performer. She can talk. Her offense although I would say limited, it looks like it hurts at least when she wrestles. And she sells really well. And she can do the thing. So when you can do the things as a pro wrestler, people will get behind you. But to tease us with Alexa Bliss's journey back to Raw, and it's the exact same Alexa Bliss. They gave Liv Morgan a bathtub at least. You know what I mean? Like, give us something. Give us something different.
Yeah, I was surprised by this decision, to be honest with you. I mean, and her promoting it, she's all yours now, WWE or whatever. I thought it was really lame, to be honest with you. I love Alexa Bliss. There's no greater stan of Alexa Bliss than me. I've defended her. I think she's actually fantastic. One of the greatest female wrestlers ever, period. And I think because exactly what Chris said, you can give her crap and she will make a gold mine out of it. She knows how to do this. I mean, she took over Bray Wyatt's gimmick in essence and got Bray Wyatt kicked out of the company because she was doing so well with her gimmick. It was fine. Now, did I like the gimmick? Has it worn out its welcome? Yes, it has. And so to keep going down this path, this is very reminiscent of Daniel Bryan and Kane with the whole psychiatrist and having to meet with them and figure out their anger and learn how to hug. There are limits to Alexa's acting. And you saw it in this vignette. I know there are the Alexa fans that were going crazy for her because everything she does in their minds could never be wrong. But you got to be honest in the assessment here. And I'm honest because I love her. I can watch this. And as an actor, I can show you the moments, the beats, the seconds where it's not believable or realistic or she's playing the surface emotion. And it didn't really work. And so for me overall, plus that psychiatrist wasn't doing that good anyway. And so overall, the vignette just didn't land for me at all. And I get that they might be leading her back to either being a better person or all this kind of stuff, but it's kind of a cheap way out because she's still in California with her boy, her man, like Ryan Cabrera, doing all kinds of things. She's not showing up at a house show anytime soon. This is their way of bringing her back without bringing her physically back into the ring for a little while. They're just going to do vignettes, do this stuff, and lead it to where she's finally in the ring. I don't think she's showing up in Rumble. Do you guys think she's showing up in Rumble?
I think she has to.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's an inevitability at this point.
All right. I'm saying she's not going to be there, but you're saying she will. So we'll see. Yeah, go ahead, Aaron. What were you going to say?
On the way down, I saw you, and this gimmick is fucking terrible. The thing that's most worrying to me, like you talked about the acting, like I watched this clip on YouTube. I wasn't watching Raw live.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, what in the world? And then I went into the comments, and I swear, dude, I'm so mad they got rid of the Facebook or the YouTube dislike button because that really helps gauge stuff for me. And I'm reading it, and so many people are like, wow, I didn't know Alexa was such a good actress. And I'm like, yeah, that's terrifying because it's not good. It's actually the opposite of whatever good is. And, the psychiatrist guy didn't do her any favors. It sucks. And it's just rehash. Like we did this with Dexter Lumis and Johnny Gargano and Indy Hartwell. We did that recently. Right. We did Sasha and Bailey recently.
Right.
It's like we've been here before. This doesn't work. Like, stop doing this crap and just give us the storyline we should have got a long time ago. That Nikki ASH, like her want to be a superhero, doesn't work out, and then Alexa like corrupts her, and then they become a bad tag team. Like that would have worked. Yeah. Now that they just went ahead and blew that, Nikki ASH is a bad a villain now, which is hysterical. Yeah. So she went from Nikki ASH to Nikki ASS. I'm not the first to make that joke, but
wow. Okay.
So it sucks, but they should have just done that. But just bring back Alexa Bliss the way we like her and stop this nonsense. Like it's doing her no favors because people hate it, like to begin with, because they feel like she stole it from Bray Wyatt. Like you said, in essence, she kind of did. And they just feel that. And it's like anytime she's going to come out there and do this, it's going to be bad, really bad.
Yeah. Is she like a Hogan, Chris? Like they just love her as a face. Twisted Bliss or a face or heel, whatever it is, stick to your basic tenets of whatever you are so that it works for them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this gimmick was fine, but now it's kind of worn out its welcome. Kind of like the American Badass for The Undertaker. That was fine, but you're still The Undertaker. Let's bring back The Undertaker. Are we at that stage where we need to bring Alexa back to Twisted Bliss, back to that version of Alexa Bliss again?
100%. I mean, especially you just mentioned The Undertaker. The reason that his spooky wackiness works is because he's an imposing guy.
Yeah, right.
Alexa Bliss is one of the smaller women on the roster. So seeing her do all this like supernatural stuff never really resonated in the first place. And it was someone else's gimmick. and we never got an explanation of what happened with her and Bray Wyatt, where she bled ink all over the place. Yeah. It's like, I thought Papa Shango was got to be reintroduced into the WWE when that happened. And I was, so there's too many questions. And so just put it away in a box. Like, let's get back to the goddess, come out with the crown, but WWE rushes things all the time. So this might be what this is, where they just rush her development back into being normal.
Yeah. Not a good thing. Yep.
I see one of the comments in the chat saying PRL18 says the problem is the dolls sell. Let me tell you something. As a wrestling figure collector, I can tell you that Alexa Bliss right now does not sell. And then again, that's a problem with the whole women's wrestling figure industry. Not a lot of the female wrestlers sell because let's be honest, most male wrestling fan or most wrestling fans are male, I would think.
Yeah.
So they're looking for male dolls. And yeah, she ain't it. So I don't agree with that. But Chris Taylor also, I wanted to throw this in here, said WWE can afford shrinks, but not healthcare for their wrestlers. So that immediately takes you out of it. Like that suspends your disbelief in all of this because we know that's not we know they don't provide healthcare. So what is this nonsense?
Yeah.
So there you go.
So this is horrible. About Figs 155 says Alexa shows up on the Titantron and just uses her powers to throw everyone over the ring and wins the Royal Rumble. Oh my God.
Now, you know what? That's so insane that I would be into that.
It's different.
Yeah. If you're going to do it, go bananas. You know what I'm saying? Don't give me every now and again she can use her powers. What is this? The X-Men game on Genesis? She should always be able to use her powers. So why wouldn't she just throw everybody out? Yeah, give it to me. Crazy.
Instead of using her power, she just makes poof. The Royal Rumble is now Raw Underground. It's like no, I don't want that.
No. Zeno Hour on the subject of Alexa. I hate Ryan Cabrera. Cut your hair, dude. You're 50. Dude, Zeno, he's making money hand over fist. He can keep his hair however the fuck long he wants, pal. No offense.
Is he making money hand over fist?
Oh, yeah. Ryan Cabrera?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Residual, son? Come on. He's making money. He's doing
he made so many residuals off that one song, man. Congratulations.
You never know. Look, you never know.
39 years old, by the way. He's not that old.
So he's not 50. Oh, there you go. So, Empire Fan 1980 sent in a couple super chats here. He said, I found it by accident. I didn't know Freddie Prinze had a wrestling podcast, and he wrote for WWE for a while. I could recommend it. It's really good. It's funny you bring this up because I was on Twitter this morning just kind of cycling through my feed, and I follow Freddie because Freddie's an Outlaw fan. And Freddie interviewed Macaulay Culkin, and Macaulay Culkin and him had a conversation where Macaulay Culkin apparently was contacted by the WWE for ideas for their programming in the last few years. And apparently he claims, and he didn't say this with any kind of arrogance. He just said, I think they took a couple of my ideas. And I was like, here you go. And he goes, I'm not trying to take any credit. I'm just saying, I noticed some of the things I talked about, they actually did and whatever. So fascinating where the WWE is going to try to find knowledge or storyline issues. Apparently he had, Macaulay said he had a bunch of Bray Wyatt storylines that he wanted to put in motion for Bray Wyatt. So have you guys heard of Freddie Prinze's podcast? Do you like it? And yes, he did write for the WWE, I think for a year, if I'm not incorrect, about the amount of time Christian Harloff wrote for the WWE. So am I wrong on this?
I think Christian only wrote for the WWE for 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
But I feel like Freddie was there for 2 years. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that timeline. But yeah, I'm aware of what Freddie is, or Freddie has a podcast and stuff like that. I think Freddie's opinions on wrestling are pretty apt. He was somebody that was there, and he has probably better opinions than most people, and understand that. The fact that Macaulay Culkin, they reached out to Macaulay Culkin to ask him, what do you think of WWE storylines? Okay, show me the Carfax. I don't believe you.
Really? You don't believe him? All right.
Yeah. Famed Hollywood writer. No offense, but why do I keep saying that? I don't care. Famed Hollywood writer, director Macaulay Culkin was contacted by. Get the fuck out of here!
It's the WWE, man.
So you don't what?
Okay, all right.
So
what about
you?
Chris? Settle this debate. Do you think it was real or not?
Are we to accept that Freddie Prinze Jr. somehow has higher esteem than Macaulay Culkin? If Freddie could do it, Macaulay definitely can do it. I want to know specifically what those ideas are, so I know who to blame
Yeah, that's true.
That's really where I'm at with it. But no, Freddie's a great guy. Met him several times.
Yep.
Little fun fact: I threw a live wrestling show in the Comedy Store. We had David Arquette wrestle someone dressed as the Shockmaster, and
you should have called me up for that.
The original plan was actually David Arquette versus Freddie Prinze Jr., but Freddie's schedule wouldn't allow. So a little peek behind the curtain there for any of you guys that were at maybe Storecade.
Freddie can wrestle?
No.
Oh, okay.
no, he cannot.
You put down the assumption right there, Rocha, that David Arquette can.
How dare you? How dare you? I want to see David Arquette and Freddie Prinze in a death match. That's what I want to see with lights, the whole nine. Do it.
The last death match David Arquette was in did not go his way. did not go his way.
MDK.
By the way, David Arquette, best part of the new Scream movie. I'm telling you right now.
Okay, thanks.
Facts.
Best part of the new Scream.
Thanks.
I'm just saying. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying it's the best part.
Yeah.
One more here from Empire Fan 1980 says Freddie Prinze Jr. said he and Macaulay Culkin might start a wrestling company. Can't get any worse than what we're getting now. LOL. Hey, I'm in. I'll call a match. I'll be your sideline reporter. I got no problem with that. I would love to be a part of this.
Yeah, in 2 years they're going to sue the WWE for poaching their talent.
They'll do an invasion and Master P's company that's on its way.
Make them say, that sounds terrible. That sounds really terrible. But then again,
yeah,
I thought GCW was terrible for a long time, and look what it's done.
True. Very good point.
There's things that can happen. People, I mean, Freddie's a smart enough guy. Macaulay is really just kind of come like for a long time. Macaulay Culkin was like the Home Alone guy, but now I feel like he's finally like embraced that and then let us re-embrace him.
Yeah,
and it's like everybody loves. Like I think I could be wrong, but I feel like Macaulay Culkin for a long time thought people were like Home Alone guy, but we all love him. So I feel like he just needed to see that love.
Ferris Mathuna. Ferris is in here. Ferris saying, Aaron, that's former WCW World Champion David Arquette.
Put some respect on.
Yeah, okay. Vince Russo was WCW champion, so
how
dare you?
God, why would you bring that up, you son of a bitch? The No Limit Soldiers. What a comeback. Oh, that was the day WCW died in my mind. God, I fucking hated that. Anyway,
you like Terry Crews and the No Limit Soldiers?
No, I don't.
People will forget that Terry Crews wrestled in WCW. It's real. Look it up.
Oh, that's right. People forget Terry Crews got slapped in that Rolling with Bob Saget video from Jamie Kennedy. All right. Adrian says, hi, guys. I agree with you. The Twisted Bliss gimmick, it didn't work, but do you think it's the start of the Return of the Goddess gimmick? That's Nikki ASH turn. That Nikki ASH turn was crap. I'm a Rhea Ripley fan. I can't see cross-dropping Ripley like that in real life. Thanks. Quick thoughts on that?
It sucked. It did suck. Rhea Ripley is so much better than all of this, and I don't understand why we continue to push down Rhea Ripley on one side, Bianca Belair on another side. It's like, why the fuck are we doing this? Yeah. We have two of the best female talents that there is, Bianca more so. But like, why are we? Why?
Yeah,
why
Chris,
are we putting this bullshit on?
Chris, what's your frustration here? Aaron's right. What's your frustration here? With how they're handling Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. I mean, we just saw Toni Storm leave of her own decision, which is really rare. So, like, she got on a plane and was like, fuck this, I'm out. What do you think about the Rhea and Bianca shit?
Don't bring up Toni. Okay. Me and Toni have had a long relationship. And
what?
I'm still reeling from her exit. I'm not really sure how to process it yet. Let's not talk about it.
The hips that kill, man.
But Rhea, I mean, she honestly hasn't been the same since losing to Charlotte way back in NXT. Like, literally from that moment. It's sort of that Simpsons episode where it's like, hey, if I slow it down, you can watch where his heart breaks in half. Yeah. And it's like, that's exactly kind of what it is for Rhea, where it seems like her confidence has been off ever since.
Yeah.
She's sort of one step slower than she used to be. I mean, she was it, man. She was the next big thing, really, in the women's division. And then, Bianca was the third wheel in that feud, if you look back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Now she is the EST, and Rhea ain't it. I don't know.
They've got to change things around, man. So many ladies are being wasted with Charlotte having the belt or Becky having the belt. Like, it's enough already, man. Their time came. Their time was great. You got to move on to the young people and let them have a shine for a little while. They gave Rhea, 3 months, and then they took it off her. It was ridiculous. They had that whole NXT event where they all stood up there with Raquel holding up their belts, and it was like 6 months
and
later.
None of them have those belts anymore.
None of them. Right, exactly. It was ridiculous for a moment. All right, let's move on to our next thing here. And what else have we got to talk about? Keep sending in those Streamlabs and super chats.
Hey, let's keep the female wrestling talk going. We love to support female wrestling. It kicks ass. Deonna Purrazzo, one of my personal favorites, defeated the prodigy ROK-C to win the Ring of Honor Women's Championship on Impact Wrestling. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to Impact, because a lot of people don't, but Ring of Honor has been doing this invasion kind of storyline where they've had like Matt Taven and Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis come in doing the OG Kingdom deal and whatever. But anyway, like the good stuff about it was that Deonna Purrazzo showed up at Final Battle in Ring of Honor and told Roxy, if you want to see who the real best wrestler in the world was, then let's do it. And they finally did it, and Roxy found out that it ain't her. So Deonna gets the win. She's now 2 belts. She's got the Reina de Reinas AAA Championship, and now she has the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. I think Deonna's one of the best in the world. And Roxy only has to the sky. She's trained by Booker T. Yeah, she's one of those that just knows the business. She's a big fan of AJ Lee, but does a lot of her stuff after AJ Lee. She's just one of those naturals. It's going to be a big star. I think it's a cool moment for Deonna because it keeps Deonna in the spotlight. That thing with her and Mickie James, it ran its course. It's done. And now Deonna gets to still have a big belt and look important. So I'm all for it.
Yeah. What do you think there, Chris? You like this idea? I mean, Deonna Purrazzo should be in the WWE at some point. Do you think
she was?
She was.
Well, I know she was. Yeah, right. Fair points. But I mean, back in this level, what do you think about her winning this title here? And what do you think about what's next for her in this situation?
I have a slightly off-topic question.
Okay.
Are there any AAA champions that wrestle in AAA only?
I don't think so.
It seems as though all of their title holders do not wrestle in AAA. But that's besides the point. I love Deonna Purrazzo. I mean, I just think that, just performance after performance, she proves that she can hang with the best of them. And absolutely, she should be mixing it up with the Charlottes and the Sasha Bankses and the Asukas. Where is Asuka, by the way?
No doubt.
Yeah.
And just
great question.
Several of other. She just needs a way bigger spotlight than anything that Ring of Honor can give her, anything that Impact can give her. I saw it. I was taking a nap there while you were telling me about the invasion angle that they're doing. Right
Fair
now.
enough.
But I mean, she's the best. So I look at it as like, when Cody Rhodes was the NWA champion for a while. It's something to put a bigger spotlight on that belt and that promotion because they announced the new show that's going to happen for Ring of Honor on the comeback, right?
Yeah, I thought so.
Did I miss that? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you look at her. I mean, it's incredible what she's able to do. So many people last week, Aaron, or a couple weeks ago, came after us for not having Deonna Purrazzo in our top wrestler of the year conversation, top female wrestler of the year.
I mentioned her. She was on the thumbnail.
You mentioned her, yeah, but she wasn't number one for you. But this is the thing. This is the thing that she kind of is engendering now with the wrestling fans. I think this is another step for her to be seen as a legitimate contender to be sliding into these bigger federations and taking their belts off their ladies. She's coming. I think she's stepping into the momentum and the drive and the lane that Tessa Blanchard was building for herself before all that shit fell apart. I think Deonna Purrazzo slides right on into that lane and goes towards those bigger federations, as Chris mentioned, to go get those belts. She needs a bigger spotlight. Her talent warrants a bigger spotlight. It's time for her to make this move. And no matter what the contracts are, break them if you have to. If you get the opportunity, get to that spot because it doesn't last long. And as Chris just said, someone like Rhea Ripley, one match, she hasn't been the same since then. And she's still in her early 20s. So it's just like, this is the situation. You got to take advantage of the time when you have it. And so this is a great next step for her, in my opinion. But what is, sorry, what were you going to say, Aaron? Or Chris?
No, it's a lot like Drew McIntyre to me, where she kind of had a run. They didn't see it in her then. She went away. up their value, and then maybe they'll probably bring her back down the line as a much bigger deal. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's very appropriate. I think that you could be exactly right about that. I think what we're going to see soon, with all the WWE releases and stuff, guys, we haven't even seen Ember Moon back yet. So that's somebody I'm really excited to see perform again. And I think that with AEW or at least getting so much, hey Bailey, Royal Rumble,
So.
But yeah, so I think that with her, with Deonna, I think that she is going to get paid. I think that ROK-C is also going to get paid. I think that AEW will be the ones to pay them because AEW is getting so much crap for like, oh, you don't promote female wrestling. Even Dustin Rhodes came out and was like, oh, we should probably do more female matches on Impact on AEW Dynamite rather than like one or two. I'm like, dude, your brother is the vice president. Your sister-in-law is the CBO. Like you don't have somebody's ear. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Nice sentiment. But like with Britt Baker being as good as Britt Baker is, we love Britt Baker here. And that division, Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill on doing her thing and coming up. Like there is room for a big boom for that television program. And I think Deonna would be a big part of that. Mm-hmm. She's not going to get paid in Impact. I mean, she's probably they're one of their top talents, like top paid talents. So you want to make the money, you want to do your thing. Wrestling is a business. Go where the money's at. I think she's AEW bound eventually.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, because they need it. That roster's not that strong on the female side of things. Although Chris Statlander, yet another great match from her.
Blue Shepherd.
She was fantastic. That woman is woman's going to be an awesome program with Britt Baker when she gets that shot again for sure.
Submission looked horrid.
She's somebody. See, Chris Statlander was one that I would see on TV, and I'm just like, oh my god, like this is bad. This is bad.
Yeah,
and she's clumsy,
she's awkward, and she's gotten better.
Really put it together. But she is so deceptively strong, man. She's a strong woman. So yeah, I'd like to see her do some more stuff. Not instead of Ruby Soho.
Oh, stop it. Don't go after Ruby Soho, you son of a bitch. What did I want to say? Oh, I watched the Statlander match from like 2019 in some fucking auditorium with like 50 people in it. It was a hell of a match. She lost by getting the hook of the ring rope yanked into her mouth, and she submitted. And I was like, damn. Even in 2019, she was dropping some banger matches in these no holds barred matches. So it's a great match. Go and see it. It's in 2019. I can't remember who she was fighting, but it was an incredible match to watch for sure. All right. Anyway, let's move on to our next thing. What do we got, Aaron?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't prepared. I had one more anecdote.
Oh, wait, sorry. We got a super chat, but yes, one more anecdote. Go ahead.
I had an anecdote about Chris Statlander. She comes from this camp, man. Cap, Creative Pro Wrestling. You know who else came from Cap? Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Max Caster of the Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens of the Acclaimed, Smart Mark Sterling, Jade Cargill's manager, came from there. I feel like I'm leaving somebody out, but these people are trained by, the former Kurt Hawkins, Brian Myers, the Pat Buck, who's the WWE producer. So they're in good hands. Like all these, it seems like this small camp of Creative Pro Wrestling in New York has put out some really good talent. So, she's learning. Bear Country. Yeah. Christian Ronaldo said Bear Country as well. So yeah, they've got some good people, and Chris Statlander's only going to get better.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's see. We got one super chat that came through here from Empire Fan 1980 again. He says, do you think it's time to turn Naomi heel and join her husband in the bloodline? Long live our tribal chief. Chris, I see you reacting to this. Talk about it. Do you think it's time?
Big facts, baby. Come on. What are we talking about? You want to talk about things that take you out of storylines. It's like, we're fully aware that she's married to one of the Usos. Like, we're fully aware of this. They've promoted that fact on Total Divas or, whatever else those other shows are and all these other things who have more viewers than SmackDown sometimes. Oof. And so it's like, how could she be okay with what the Usos are doing and she can't get a match because of the not GM Sonya Deville? You know what I mean? It's like, the bloodline runs the show that you're on. You got complaints. You say nothing. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's a lot like when Becky was a babyface and Seth Rollins was a heel. It was like these two things do not mesh. Like, she's super popular, and for the fans, he's an asshole. That doesn't work for me on TV, like, without addressing it in some form or fashion.
Yeah. And we just saw Britt Baker join Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is possible. What do you think, Aaron?
I think that all it would take for people to get really behind that is, let's say, like, because they're doing this thing with Sonya Deville and Naomi, and it's just like, kill me. Mm-hmm. But like, what if, like, there was like a backstage where, like, Sonya Deville's like saying, Naomi, like, you're just terrible, like, blah blah blah, I don't like you. And then Naomi's like, fine, leaves the room, or get out of my office. And then Sonya Deville gets a knock on the door. In comes Roman Reigns, and is like, you know what? Oh, I don't like your tone. I don't like how you're talking to. I don't like how you're talking to my people. That's all it'll take to get Naomi to that level. Like, everybody loves Naomi, man. Look at her Royal Rumble when she came in and got like the biggest pop out of anybody. People want to see Naomi do well.
Yeah.
Also, underrated heel. Underrated heel is Naomi. So it doesn't take much. It wouldn't take much to push Naomi to that level, and I'd love to see it.
Okay. Yeah. I'd love to see it too. Anything that gets her, I mean, it almost like the bloodline is becoming like a low, how can I say this? I'll say this correctly. They're becoming like a version of the NWO. Like, if they put a shirt on you, all of a sudden you're more elevated. So yeah, if Reigns walks in and says, I don't like the way you're talking to Naomi. Naomi's one of the bloodline, blah, blah, blah. Boom. Naomi's back in the title conversation. I know she's facing Charlotte next week, but with the believability that she's actually going to win this time. And that's what would be the difference. And have them kind of slide in there and mess around and distract Charlotte or whatever. That could be possible. I think it's absolutely possible. So,
or it could create more enmity in the bloodline by the fact that she's in by marriage. And so obviously her husband supports her, but Roman's like, she ain't blood. I don't care.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You could fair point. You could mess around with that.
Got to earn your spot.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's either him or me. Yeah, that's a possibility. We've all been with girlfriends like that. All right. What's the next thing we've got here, Aaron?
I have not been with a girl like that. So we're moving on to All Elite Wrestling, AEW Dynamite. Got some notes going on there. CM Punk defeated Wardlow in the opening bout. Then MJF and Wardlow went face to face, which was interrupted. We're getting this, long, drawn out. Eventually, where Wardlow's going to kill MJF, and we're all going to love it. Kind of thing going on. But yeah, so Wardlow hit CM Punk with, I think it was 3 power bombs in a row, and it looked awesome. It looked menacing. It's like, good Lord. And then Wardlow was going to pin him, and it's like, and when he was going to do that, I was like, how do they get out of this? Like, they got to make Wardlow look strong. There's no way they're going to let CM Punk kick out of this. And then, we did the thing where MJF was like, no, you got to brutalize him even more. Keep power bombing him. And he power bombed through the table, and he just kept power bombing him. I'm like, good Lord, this man should be dead.
Yeah.
And then Wardlow goes to powerbomb him again. CM Punk somehow still alive. Hits the inside cradle, and like the weakest inside cradle I've ever seen in my life, and pins Wardlow. And it sucked. I feel like there's a better way. Hey, there it is. I feel like there's a better. I'm not mad at Punk for this, by the way. Like, I just feel like there was a better way that we could do that and keep Wardlow the best. Like, I just. There's got to be a better way, right? Am I wrong?
Wasn't the better move to have MJF get mad at him, hit him with his cane or something like that, and that's what leads to the CM Punk roll-up, so that Wardlow is even more fucking pissed at MJF. MJF really sees he made a colossal error here, and then it's at least somewhat believable that CM Punk would roll him up. The roll-up is ass. It's always been ass. It'll always be ass. And after 9 power bombs, it's even more ass, especially if you've just been power bombed through a fucking table. So, I mean, it just was ridiculous. I got the idea of what they were doing, obviously, because you don't want to hang his loss on Wardlow. You don't want to put the first loss to be Wardlow for Punk. So you want to do something else, but you got to keep Wardlow being this menacing beast. But it just was ridiculous ending. I saw the fans going crazy for it. I'm like, what? What are you cheering? This is a terrible situation. And then the Sean Spears thing that came out on AEW Rampage, Wardlow, they're definitely building to where he's going to turn on them both. But to me, this was such a terrible decision. it didn't hurt Punk, but I think overall it kind of messed with Wardlow's push. What'd you think about this, Chris?
I don't know who benefited from this segment. Yeah. I was like,
fair.
Punk looks like he can't beat Wardlow, who's been wrestling a fraction of the time that Punk's been a wrestler.
Right.
The power bomb, which has been sold as like one of the most powerful moves in AEW, now looks weak because somehow this 50-year-old, or however old Punk actually is in real life, can survive a baker's dozen of them and roll someone up. It didn't make. I don't understand who looks good. Like no one got more over because of it. I get that they were trying to protect Punk and Wardlow at the same time. Like you said, I understand what the point of the segment was, but the execution, nobody got over. Everybody sort of got buried because of it. Like, have MJF put the ring on, throw it in the ring, and it's like, hit him with that or something, and Punk gets the ring and hits Wardlow. Like, much easier. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't make the finisher. I hate when finishers are depowered. Don't.
Yeah, I agree.
What if instead, like, kind of going off what you said, Chris? Like, what if like MJF like CM Punk is getting powerbombed to oblivion?
Yep.
Then the ref gets distracted for something. Somehow MJF like slides Wardlow a chair, but he doesn't use it. He just picks it up to like move it out of the ring, but the ref turns around at that moment and sees Wardlow with the chair and CM Punk on the ground.
Yeah.
And then disqualifies Wardlow because he thinks he used the chair.
It was Eddie Guerrero, yeah.
So it fucks over Wardlow, and he's even more pissed at MJF because like, this would have been the biggest win of my career, you prick, and all that kind of stuff. Protects everybody, but it was an off night in that sense. So
I think Haskell makes a great point, Aaron. I want your thoughts on this.
Okay.
People now looking forward to Wardlow versus MJF. MJF versus Punk is now secondary.
I don't think that's true, but I mean,
really?
I don't think that's all the way true. Yeah, people are looking forward to the Wardlow MJF blow off, but dude, it won't take much to right the ship on this one. All it'll take is another good talking segment between those two, and nobody will even think about the Wardlow stuff. Like, it'll always be hanging there, but like, we want Punk and MJF to kill each other. But
I think there's a validity to Haskell's point, Chris, and I want to hear what you think about this, because you put Wardlow in both of these situations, right? MJF in both these situations, who, if both of them get the better of MJF, either one if they both get the better, it undercuts both of them getting the better of him, because no singular one gets the real better of him. And if he's already damaged from the CM Punk situation, then he loses to Wardlow. You're really kind of burying your top heel in this situation without giving him a better overall look. And I think in the end, he's got to lose to Punk and maybe defeat Wardlow to retain some kind of level of strength. Don't you think that's the path?
I do, but I think that's sort of happy accident of this situation, that it is getting Wardlow more over.
It is
in the midst of this feud, because you're going to have the eventual Punk MJF face off,
right,
in which you can have Wardlow cost MJF the match, and that protects MJF a little bit and doesn't take too much heat off of him, building up the eventual, collision with Wardlow. So it's like, it's interesting that it's like, all us fans have been waiting for, this battle of the promos of MJF and Punk. But now that I think more about it, it's sort of genius, because it's being used to set up a feud for Wardlow, who's an up-and-comer, which he needs the rub. So I got to sort of applaud the way that's working out. Now, the more and more I think about it.
Yeah, and if Wardlow loses to MJF, that could be because of Sean Spears' interference, and then you've got Wardlow teaming up with Punk against MJF and Sean Spears. Doesn't that work?
He doesn't fit in the pinnacle anyway, Wardlow, in my opinion.
Well, Sean Spears, I fell asleep. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he cut a nice promo at Rampage against Punk. You didn't like the promo?
The only thing that he has going for him is, I don't have to even tell you. You know what he's got going.
Oh, boy. All right.
He's got a 10, that's for sure. He's got a 10.
Luis Enrique de la Peña says, if you had to choose one surprise wrestler appearance at the Rumble, who would it be?
Ooh. Kenny Omega. No.
Are we talking like forbidden, like this whole Forbidden Door stuff? Or are we talking about like could probably happen?
Right.
Go
Is that
both
what we're
ways.
talking about?
How about that? Go both ways.
Both ways.
He did Mexican $50, which I think is, I don't know how much that is in American.
I think it's 10 cents.
10 Luis, 10 cents, motherfucker.
I'm just kidding. I don't.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think that's what it really is.
Go ahead.
Let me look through something here.
What do you got? Do you have something, Chris? What do you
I
think?
don't have anything off the top of my head. Sorry.
If we're going Forbidden Door,
Yeah,
I'll start with Forbidden Door. I think what makes the most sense. I mean, look, I'd love it to be Bryan Daniels.
That would be funny. I would like that too. That'd be fun.
That'd be fantastic. You know, he's like, it didn't work out winning the world title in AEW, so I'm in the Royal Rumble, baby. I'm trying to get another shot. If we're talking about in company, this is sort of cheating, but Johnny Gargano. I love the idea of the swerve. Yeah. I love like, oh, he's definitely going to be all elite. He's got to be, right? He's, you know, and then he shows up in the Rumble instead. I'd love to see him.
All right. What do you got?
I don't know. Like, I can't really. I'm so bad at this.
Someone I would love to see actually show up. Like, oddly enough, I know people are gonna be like, "That's stupid." Braun Strowman. I would love to see Braun Strowman show up because like I like Impact stuff. Like I like when Brock Lesnar comes out, I get excited. When like big dudes come out, I get excited. Right. So to see Braun Strowman just come back just for a day, just for this, like it's just a one-off. Like I think that would be cool. I think that I'd be like, all right, that works. And then as far as like the other side goes, I would actually like to see in the women's rumble, like if you want to do a Forbidden Door, somebody that would be fun to do, and I think it would work well. Though I don't think they do it.
Yeah,
Thunder Rosa, man, Thunder Rosa.
She
can work. She can work with anybody. She can work with anybody. Okay. Throw her in there, see what happens.
What about Jeff Hardy? Any chance? John Cena? Oh!
Hey,
what do you think? No,
John Cena's not coming back.
All right.
He said he wasn't going to be at Wrestle. Or he said he's probably not going to even do WrestleMania this year. So he's got a lot going on. I don't know if you've seen Peacemaker. He's got some shit going on.
No, it's good. I've seen the first 7 episodes. They're fucking incredible. What do you got? Any other possible additions here? It's to Stratus show up. Does Ronda Rousey come back?
That'd be a good one.
I'd love Ronda to come back. The division could use her right now. It's not very top heavy in WWE like for the women's division, and I don't mean that as a pun, but you know, it's they need something of the magnitude of a Charlotte, of a a Becky. They can't just keep fighting each other over and over again.
That's true. What about Bayley? Is it time for Bayley to come back, or she's still?
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
Do you want to use Do you use Bayley in the Royal Rumble if she isn't going to win?
Yeah, I think she's going to win.
Because if she's going to win, then you absolutely use her.
Right.
But if she's not going to win, then what's the point?
Okay.
100%.
The pop, I guess. But
I agree.
Other than that, like, what's the point?
I think Bayley comes in and wins it.
I love Bayley.
If she comes in, I think she wins it. I think it's good. You make a great point, Aaron. What about Walter, Aaron?
Walter. That's my guy. Yeah, you got to say it the right way. Walter.
Oh my God, he's got a shirt for Walter.
Oh God, I'm loving this.
Come on now.
Hey,
come on now.
The mat is sacred, man. Walter.
That's
I'm telling
awesome.
you, dude. I'm
of course
waiting.
I got the Walter shirt.
I'm waiting, and maybe we get into the Royal Rumble because I just for some reason I have this this thing in my brain that says Big E and Walter are gonna mix it up at some point, and it's gonna be badass. And maybe we get it at the Royal Rumble.
Wow,
I'd be into that. Walter's probably the only one who could hit Big E hard enough to hit for his chest to turn red. Us black people, our chests don't really get red like that, but I think Walter's got enough to make it happen.
And John, what is Big E's favorite saying?
I don't know. What is it?
Big meaty men slapping meat. That's what he wants, and that's what I want to.
That's a fair point. Oh, Dragunov, says Luis Enrique de la Peña.
He'd be fun, but you got to bring him over from overseas. I don't know how that's working right now.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
That's a good point. Let's see. Wrestle Votes says the possibility of Bryan Danielson or Jericho. I could see Jericho over Danielson. I really could. Right?
Well, Danielson's wife and sister-in-law are going to be in the other Rumble, so I mean.
Fair enough. Zeno said Peacemaker's dad for the Rumble, but he gets eliminated by every wrestler of color. I like that. I like that idea.
I don't understand the context. I haven't watched it yet. So, but
we will.
Who's his dad? Robert? Is it Robert Patrick?
Robert Patrick, yes. But he's also,
I swear to God, I just guessed that.
He's a super racist in the show. So
what a shocker. Robert Patrick playing. Not saying that him personally is a racist guy, but he just looks like that kind of guy.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Shout out to Baby Girl Reigns 2020 who just subscribed to the channel. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, we got a couple of Streamlabs that have come through as we're hitting the tail end of the show here because we all want to get off to watch the playoffs. John Alexander says, it's so silly how the WWE tries to hide everything, like how they let Braun Breaker be a Steiner, even though they wouldn't let Braun Breaker be a Steiner, even though everybody knows who he is. They bark at the dude when he wrestles. Commentary, thoughts?
They'll change it. They'll eventually change it.
Yeah, it just they always say that they name these people in a way that your new WWE champion blank. And can anybody hear new WWE champion Braun Breaker? I mean, and I get it. It was his idea, apparently, and
I don't believe that for a second, but yeah, okay.
Which for me, it just shows me that with artists, you need some management and some production around you at times. And so, yeah, Braun Breaker, not the best. But I agree with you, Aaron. I think they'll definitely change it at some point.
Yeah. Back to a Steiner. And maybe even weave in Rick Steiner. All right.
He was there. He was there at NXT when he won the
That's
title.
why I'm saying that. All right. The last Cinema Sailor. Have his uncle show up. Big Ben. Booty Daddy. The last Cinema Sailor says, aloha. Just tuned in. Hot times. I cannot wait for the Royal Rumble. I love the watch along last year, and I hope there will be one this year. I pray that my Empress of Tomorrow returns. Darkitect, love seeing you rocking the black and white, bruh. There you go.
Come on now.
We may have to do a Rumble watch along because I have a show I'm going to on Saturday beforehand.
Okay.
So we may have to do that instead of a live show, or I have to do a Rumble watch.
Well, Chris is going to be at the Royal Rumble, so
yeah, we'll just have him. We'll just have him on FaceTime. Just boom, just have him right there.
Chris, what can you tell us about what's going on backstage?
Patrick yelling.
Yes. Xavier Black Wiley says, I know you are not talking about WWE, but what about Aaliyah and that disgraceful mess with Natalya?
Brother,
is this going to be Tony Storm all over again?
Brother, they advertised it. If you're not in the loop on this, Aaliyah last night on SmackDown beat Natty in 3.17 seconds.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Terrible, horrible booking. Give women time to perform. Why is this the Divas era all over again? Keeps getting worse for some reason. And not only that, like people have endorsed it. Like they said, some person on Twitter was like, Aaliyah 317 says I just pinned you. And I'm like, stop your nonsense. So go outside and get a tan. But it's just like, it's bad. It's horrible. It's not a good thing. And it's not something they should be like, hey, this is great. It's terrible. Yeah.
It's insane how quickly it was over. Just insane. And like, why would you do it this way? It doesn't make any sense. And then it doesn't help Aaliyah. That's for sure.
I mean,
and it doesn't help Natalie.
It helps Aaliyah, but it doesn't help because it makes her. She beat Natty. She beat like a former women's champion in like 3 seconds. Will it do anything? No, but it's like, she beat Natty, I guess.
It's like me beating Jake the Snake at the end of his WWE run. It's really not that big of a deal. I'm just putting it on the table. Natty's been doing it for 40 years now, for God's sakes. Enough is enough. I'm just saying. Yeah, I love Natty. Look, I think Natty's a lifer. I love her dedication to the sport. But reality is reality. Beating Natalya doesn't give you any credibility with the fans. None. Zero.
Yeah. At this point, we should make a list of who hasn't beat Natty. I feel like it'd be a lot easier maybe. Exactly. But because Natty's in that role, like kind of like Kurt Hennig during his babyface run, where it's like he's obviously really good and can make it work with pretty much anyone that he's in the ring with. So they never put him in a position where he was ever going to elevate. He only just put people over. And it's so clear that that's what Natty's role is in the women's division. Yeah. That, the shine of beating her is like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. We shall see. We shall see. All right. Any other things we need to get into, Aaron?
We got more. We got more.
Okay,
Hold on. Hold your horses, Mr.
All
Football.
right.
Hold on.
The show's at 1:30. Playoffs at 1:30. Let's do this.
So Dante Martin defeated Powerhouse Hobbs in the next match, and guess what happened? Dante Martin rolled him up and beat him. Dante Martin, guys, beat Powerhouse Hobbs with a roll up.
Yeah.
Willie Hobbs, this guy that looks like a tank, got rolled up by Dante Martin, who is essentially a cruiserweight, and we're supposed to believe that. What's funny about that is I put out a tweet like expressing my love for Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, this dude has everything. Like, he's going to be great. Like, look at the facials. I'm loving what he's doing in this match. And then 2 seconds later, I was like, fuck, they beat him. Like, it doesn't make sense. Why are we sacrificing Powerhouse Hobbs for Dante Martin? I hated this. Hated it.
Okay.
It could have been anyone else. Like, it's always hilarious when you hear like wrestling bookers, especially on like Pritchard's podcast, where he talks about, well, hindsight's 2020. No. This is make believe. Nothing has to happen. It only happens because you made it happen. So if you needed to get him a quick roll-up win over anybody, maybe not someone who outweighs him by 3 whole human beings. You know what I mean? Like, it was just bad planning. And when it's that unbelievable, I don't think that they get the rub that they're looking to give these wrestlers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't beat Powerhouse Hobbs. Keep him strong. He had a hell of a match with CM Punk, and then he gets rolled up by Dante Martin. Give me a break.
Yeah.
All right. So coming up next, we had Hangman Adam Page, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, cutting a promo. I thought he was going to challenge Bryan Danielson again. We were going to get a trifecta, which would have been great. Yeah. But no, he comes out cutting a promo and gets his ass beat by a returning Lance Archer, which, I've been kind of hot and cold on Lance. He had like the unfortunate moonsault, which ended in like a neck injury. And his manager, Jake the Snake, is not there, sometimes not there. So it's kind of hard to get into that whole thing. But I think Lance is a good fit for Adam Page right now. I think that'd be a good matchup.
Okay. All right. What do you say there, Chris?
Yeah, I think so. Of the list of like possible contenders for Hangman at this point, it's kind of like it's too soon for Punk. It's too soon for, I would even say, like Jericho. So this is a good in-between situation, a credible threat that he can win. It's another signature win, which has been kind of the biggest problem with Hangman to me. He's been hanging out with the Dark Order.
Yeah, God, you gotta get him away from there.
Wins. On his way to the world title. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's get him some things under his belt, make him look more like the champion. Because as much as I love those Bryan Danielson matches, I agree with Jim Cornette. You put those matches on mute, Bryan Danielson is the world champion. If you're watching those,
you're probably right.
He's the best wrestler in the world. But we'll roll with it. I like Hangman. He's actually like a real baby face in this era who's not like an idiot and like a punk. So this is solid.
Who, this guy? This guy?
Hey,
the Hangman
Cowboy shit.
Yeah, man. Like, how good is that? Outlaw Hangman shit. Right,
all I can tell you is this is just something to fill the time, Lance Archer. Because everyone else that should be fighting him is caught up in another feud. So there's no one just hanging out there that is really great for Page to fight. And look, this is part of being a champion. Everybody else is already caught up in other things. So sometimes you got to fight somebody and try to make a program out of it. This is a good test for Hangman Page. Can you sell this Archer feud? Right. Can you get this thing going? And this is part of the job. Hogan could sell you against anybody, right? Stone Cold could sell you against anybody. The Rock definitely could sell him against anybody. So let's see if Hangman Page can do that as well. Because the danger with Hangman Page is that if he starts to disappear in matches like this, it's going to dent his championship potential. And having the belt and staying a champion in people's eyes. Because that guy, no offense, but Hangman is 1 or 2 bad matches away from being seen as a mid-carder again. And I'm telling you, that's a possibility. So he's got to have some awesome fucking programs, whether they're stars or not, with anybody that's put in front of him. He's still in that building phase. As Chris said, he's still in that phase where you're kind of getting to know him a little bit more, getting to really enjoy his stuff a little bit more. He's still building. So he's got to have fantastic matches and fantastic programs, or else he's going to tumble down, because Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, there's a lot of fucking people that could, MJF, there's a lot of people that could have that belt, for God's sake. So
what AEW is missing is a Mankind, a Mick Foley, someone who can always work with whoever the world champion is, always elevate them, always make them look good. Never necessarily has to be the champion themselves.
Yeah.
Can take a loss and not lose any shine. They don't have that guy in AEW right now.
Yeah, good point.
If he was 100 pounds heavier, it'd be Darby, but
true enough.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, he always puts on banger matches, but let's be real. Like, Darby versus like Wardlow, like, give me a break.
Yeah, true. Real quick, super chat came in from Xavier Black Wiley. Another one says, I know you're always on top of these things, Roku. I think he's trying to say Rocha. But thanks for having Chris on the show to give more perspective on Black wrestling fandom.
Look, I wish I had my Nation of Domination shirt with me right now. It's in storage because it's too valuable to just have out, but it's in there.
Look, I love the black people. I think I've got a little bit of black in me to commentate. But Chris and I, we go back a few years. So I think Chris respects that. But yes, I think it's very great. I think it's awesome that we have Chris on the show to have the full black perspective. I mean, Aaron keeps crowing how he's been adopted by Black Wrestling Twitter. Chris,
I've been invited to
verify this?
I gotta get on the black phone after this and verify that information.
Wait a minute.
I don't know if that's. We'll see.
I got a check mark and everything.
The black phone. I gotta find the black phone. All right, Luis Enrique sent in another $2 and said, "Now the black and gold generation of NXT is gone. I'm not interested in the brand anymore. Am I wrong?" Yeah, you're not wrong, because that's your feelings, your opinions. But I don't see a lot of people clamoring for NXT 2.0. Gentlemen, do you think there's people clamoring for NXT 2.0? Are we too old? What's the situation?
Brother, I live here. I can go to it every week, and I don't go, and I don't give a fuck. Okay, and I loved NXT. I love Black and Gold NXT.
Yeah,
you can't get me out of bed to go to a free show.
Wow,
it's FCW. It's developmental. It's not a third brand anymore. It's these bunch of people trying to figure it out, and Braun Breaker. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. And the blatant disrespect to the legacy at this point is, now you've alienated the fans who would have otherwise maybe given it a shot. So
that's a good point.
Bad move.
I think so too, man. And where does Ciampa go? I don't know.
Going to the main roster, they colored his beard.
Yeah, true.
You don't have the gray beard anymore.
Murderanta says that the ratings have been increasing. I wonder if they are. If they are, then they're making the right decision, I guess.
That's because I'll tell you exactly why that is, because this is Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard's thing. And so what have we seen? A shit ton of main roster crossover. We had AJ Styles.
Right.
That's right. AJ was just on the show.
You know what I mean? On more than one episode of NXT. So people are going to tune in for that. But once that's over with.
Yeah. Well, fair enough.
They do. I mean, they got let's be real. They got a few people, of course, Braun Breaker's next level, but they got Carmelo Hayes. They got a little something in Grayson Waller, I think. Mm-hmm. They've got, Raquel's there.
Mandy Rose.
I'm getting there. Okay. Raquel, Aew, of course, Aew Shirai.
Yeah.
And they've got, Gigi and JC Jane, if they could bring them along. I like a lot of what Gigi has. Mandy has transformed her character, if they want to rehash that. So they've got stuff, but it's just not enough stuff yet.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, where are we off to next, Aaron? Let's keep it going.
Okay, so Serena Deeb defeated Hikaru Shida by what? Referee stoppage? This was different. This wasn't a roll-up. She basically took out Shida's knee and proceeded to beat the living crap out of her. And now, guys, Serena Deeb, like a couple of years ago, we're like, oh, she's washed up. She's a trainer at the Performance Center. She doesn't need to wrestle anymore. She comes back. She gets released from WWE, goes to NWA, does a little something there, comes to AEW, and is absolutely crushing it. Like, what happened? What happened there? Why did people think Serena Deeb couldn't wrestle anymore? And she's doing great stuff. Her and Shida, it's been back and forth. They put on some good matches. It's been entertaining. It's good to see them getting into women's storylines that aren't for a championship.
Yeah.
And this is good stuff, man. This is good stuff that Serena Deeb is doing. She can be a killer in that division. She could be a real threat to Britt Baker. She doesn't have to be. Britt Baker's kind of on the fence. She's like a tweener. She's both sides. She's heel and she's babyface. Jade Cargill, full-blown heel. Serena Deeb can just come in there and just be like the ass kicker of the whole division, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she could really carve out a niche for herself here. I love to see it. I like what's going on here.
Yeah. All right. What do you say, Chris?
My concern is I want to see Deeb in other feuds because it's a Jerry Lynn situation. I adore Jerry Lynn. I thought he was a great wrestler, but he had unmistakable chemistry with Rob Van Dam, and his other feuds never really caught the same kind of fire as his situation with RVD. Yeah. And so he kind of, he's not remembered as spectacularly as he really was as a wrestler. So I just need to see a little bit more, someone away from Shida.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent point you bring up because I thought that was the fear with Kenny Omega, that Omega wasn't going to be able to kind of manufacture these great feuds with other people, and he was going to fall into the Jerry Lynn trap, and he didn't. And God love him because now he's kind of elevated past that. There's certainly possibility of Deeb sliding into the Jerry Lynn thing. So it's a great point you bring up, Chris. So hopefully they can find more for her to do outside of Shida and let her shine a little bit more. We shall see. Time will tell. All right, what are we up to next?
All right, so we had Penta L0M or whatever his name is this week defeating Matt Hardy in a matchup. Yeah, it wasn't bad. And then the lights go out and Malachi Black appears. And we get a little back and forth between him and Penta. And then the lights go out again. Apparently didn't pay the bill. Comes back on and we see Brody King appear and beat the living crap out of everyone. Now, a lot of people, this was very divisive online because a lot of people were like, oh, it's a no-name guy. Nobody knows who Brody King is. This is stupid. I know who Brody King is because Brody King has wrestled for quite a few wrestling companies. Ring of Honor, MLW, Impact, New Japan. The guy's been all around the world. The guy has a unique look. Like, look at this dude. He looks completely different than what you see out there. And I think he fits perfectly. Of course, oh my God. Do I love Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Adam Cole, and all these people being signed to AEW? Of course I do. But this is the kind of signing that you have that really bulks up your roster. Brody King is a guy that could work. He's a believable dude. Look, they look like they could be brothers.
Yeah.
Like they fit in perfectly together. If you want to build this House of Black stable, what a great ad that Brody King is. A well-liked guy in the locker room from what I hear.
Yep.
Great dude to have on your roster. Good team member. Great hire.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love the way they did it. I thought Brody King coming in was fantastic. Malachi Black laughing the whole time, knowing that he had the card to play, and then played it, and it was absolute devastation. Absolute devastation. They beat up Pillman Jr. and his boy. They just tore and Penta. They just killed him. After Penta cut his quick little promo, they just destroyed everybody in that ring and kind of announced the House of Black moving to the next level with a guy like this now being a part of their crew and their faction. So now all of a sudden the tables turn. There are now even more possibilities for the House of Black in AEW. What did you think about this? I mean, I'm already in my head putting them past the Dark Order here, Chris.
Oh yeah, the Dark Order.
Yeah.
That's all for being the elite. You want to have some fun. You want to see some antics. You go see the Dark Order on YouTube.
Thank you.
This is prime time situation right here. I'm all about Brody King. I've been a big fan of his forever. Seen him in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood here locally. I've seen him in PWG. Right. He's currently in PWG tagging with Malachi Black. So love the guy. He's awesome. I'm so glad that he's going to be on a bigger stage with AEW. Fits perfectly in the stable. Looks like they might add Pac as the third man in the House of Black.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Which I think fits way better than whatever the Death Triangle thing that they've been trying to get off the ground forever. I love the way it was done. Just let it breathe. Let it breathe. So far, every segment that Malachi's had on AEW, I think, has been great.
Yeah.
To me, it's the AEW version of like Dark Avengers. Like if it was the Dark Avengers, and for some reason Malachi Black was Tony Stark, and he was just like, we have a Hulk.
Yep, there you go.
And it's Brody King. So that's what I think of it.
Brody Smash. There you go. Good point. All right. What's our next thing, Aaron? Anything else to hit on?
So we had the Acclaim defeating Bear Country. I mean, I like the Acclaim and stuff, but this match was just all right. Yeah. And then we got to the end, which was Sammy Guevara versus Daniel Garcia to retain the dumbest belt in the history of professional wrestling, the interim TNT championship. Cody just decided, he didn't want to work right now, so he'll just come get it when he feels like it. TNT title. So good match. Daniel Garcia, of course, is going to give you a good one, and so is Sammy. We like Sammy on the show. I don't know why I keep saying that, but I like Sammy. He's good. He's good hand to have. Fine ending. It was all right.
Yeah. It was fine. And I like Sammy's just kind of biding his time now until they start to shoot him up the ladder. So give him this belt to kind of make him seen as a champion. Garcia was a fine match. Certainly not anything that was terrible or anything, but it didn't really test Sammy that much. And then eventually Sammy's going to go up the ladder here, up the chain, and go get that top belt at some point down the road here. So, I had no problems with this one. It wasn't that big of a main event. There were better matches and better moments earlier in the program. What do you think, Chris, of this match?
Yeah, odd decision to have this be the main event.
Yeah,
I get it because it's the title, sort of title was on the line,
kind of, sort of.
But like when you give the belt an afterthought name, every match that it's involved with is going to be an afterthought. So until Cody returns and is the actual TNT champion on TBS.
Makes no sense. Yeah.
Oh, this is something interesting. I mean, what about Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux in the House of Black? Is that a possibility?
Kross is a leader, not a follower.
Oh, wow.
I don't think
not from what I saw in the main roster.
Well, hold on. Like, let's not. I mean, I'm not gonna bring in Kross's political opinions into this arena, but it's like the guy. Like, I think it would be tough for him to be in, like, not the leader. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he would fit, if that makes sense. Like, he's just too strong of a personality. He has too strong of a look.
Yeah. And
them together have too strong of a connection and too strong of a presence for something like that. Could they be like an antithesis to the House of Black? Maybe. You want to do something like that, but then you have to make him babyface, and it doesn't really work that way either. So I don't know. I don't think Karrion Kross fits in AEW right now.
Okay. I was about to say the exact same thing. I don't want him in the House of Black. I don't want him in AEW because, the thing about Karrion Kross, the bell has to ring eventually, and then that great entrance is over, and now I got to watch him wrestle, and I've never cared about that part of his whole thing. So,
fair enough.
Go to NWA.
Wow. They would need production value for that.
Oh, yikes. So people ask us about the Meltzer thing. I don't know anything about the Meltzer thing. Do you want to talk about it?
All right. So real brief, like the WWE announced that they're probably going to do the Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. Of course, that sounds bad because number one, it's in Saudi Arabia and it says Elimination Chamber, which kind of means death. So you would insinuate that. So WWE was going to allegedly rename it the WrestleMania Chamber or something like that.
Oh.
And then Dave Meltzer said something to the effect of they are doing this in Saudi Arabia because I guess Auschwitz wasn't available or something. And people took a lot of offense to that. I'm not Jewish. I don't know. I was just like, oh, he was comparing Auschwitz to Saudi Arabia. I don't know enough about politics and world stuff to know if that's apt. So I just kind of said, Dave Meltzer said it. I don't give a fuck, and just moved on.
Yeah. Meltzer defended himself, I think, saying that he lost family members from his past in his family, previous generations. Who he said as someone who lost multiple family members in the Holocaust, I take it beyond seriously. The line was to bring up the question of using the term Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, it was meant as a message, but I apologize for those who were offended by it. Yeah, I wish people would stop bringing up the fucking Holocaust and Jewish people in the Holocaust. It's really not a fucking thing anybody should be bringing up. Whether you lost family members or not, it's not something to reference. It really isn't. And I'm not saying obviously there have been things that were as terrible as that or worse that have happened in the history of the world for sure. But that is just such a touchstone. And I don't know why people bring it, especially something like wrestling. It's fucking pro wrestling. All right. It's nowhere near anything that should be connected to or talked about with the Holocaust. Chris, any thoughts on this, man?
Hey, Dave, you're a journalist. Try reading the room, my guy. if you read Meltzer's Twitter feed, it's looking at an out of touch man constantly try to like hit you with clapbacks and zingers and things like that. And it's just like, my guy, report on the wrestling. Don't comment on it. We don't need your opinions. Let Dave Alvarez do that and be your color guy. Just give us the news, okay?
Right. Yeah.
Come on, give us the news.
Cornette is the only one that can get away with that kind of stuff. And Cornette's not a journalist. Cornette is a former personality in pro wrestling, and he knows how to read the room and do the zingers that work for an overall goal. Is he always right? No, but he gets reactions and gets conversation going. This is something far out of the league. And no offense to Dave, who obviously lost family members. I just think it's not something you should bring up when it comes to pro wrestling at all. Aaron?
Yeah, I know that our friend Ryan Satin, got in hot water a couple years ago, or maybe not hot water, I don't know, when he said something about something being a real Sophie's choice. And I think and then like the Auschwitz Society like responded to it by like trying to educate him on it, which is great. Like that's what you do.
Yes.
You see a problem, you educate, and then you move along.
Right.
But it's like in that instance, like Sophie, I didn't even know what the hell that even meant. Like for the longest time, for me, that was just a figure of speech. So maybe I'm an idiot, but
from
like
the movie,
yeah, I'm just an idiot. So I didn't see that, and sometimes I don't see things necessarily because I don't understand the reference. Maybe that's just my hillbilly brain. But like, I see something like that. I see that. I saw this. I saw that it came from Meltzer. I saw people getting mad at Meltzer, and I'm just like, what day of the week is it? Like,
right.
Meltzer. Exactly. I don't give a shit. So I just don't let Dave get in my head. I don't care.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I like this. Murderanta says he hasn't recovered from the burial Asuka gave him last year. Wow, that's fair. That's fair. Asuka did tear him apart. So did Peyton Royce a couple of years ago. And I got blocked by Meltzer for coming in and defending Satin when him and Satin were going at it on Twitter. So that's the game sometimes. All right, well, there you go. That's our episode here of Strong Style. We went over, so I probably missed a couple of touchdowns. God damn it. But that's all right because we're talking pro wrestling here, having some fun. Big shout out to our brother who has joined us in the literal and figurative sense, Chris Burns, the Darkitect himself, brother. It's so great to have you a part of this show now. Your commentary already, your analysis, your opinions on this show were just great, seamlessly fitting into our show. Thank you so much. Where can they find you and everything that's going on, my man? Plug away.
Most of the things are Chris_please. Probably some hidden stuff, but I'll plug those as we go along. We got to get you to the playoffs, baby. Let's go.
Respect, brother. Aaron, thanks again, man. Another great show. Where can they find you and everything got going on?
You'll find me at home on Puppy Duty. You can find me on Twitter at only Aaron Turner. Guys, I made a TikTok for the show. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but it's just for fun. It's strong underscore styles underscore live because I couldn't put strong style live. So find us there. Follow us on TikTok. I don't know. Some fun shit may come.
We're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to do a Twitter account as well. I think, Aaron. Now, if you're gonna jump on TikTok, you got to do a Twitter. We got to figure out a Twitter one too.
All right, social media manager. Okay, I'll write it down. All right, I'll do it. I'll do it.
If you're gonna go off and do something, and not even tell me about it, well, then let's add duties to your thing. I'm down with it.
Well, I did tell you about it last week, but okay.
I'm 50. Don't ask. I don't remember things. I'm like Meltzer. My brain is mush.
God.
Follow me at the Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Remember, guys, always subscribe to the channel down below. Trying to get to that 25,000 subscribers mark. Now that we crossed 20,000, let's get to 25,000 as soon as possible. Let's get to 30, 40, 50,000 by the end of the year. Give it up. I'm going to work hard. So help me work hard by following and hitting that bell button down below as well. Leave a comment, like this video, and share it on your social media, because when you share it, you're telling your friends and family who love pro wrestling, hey, Strong Style is a cool place to come and enjoy some content, some pro wrestling content from us. All right, much love to you all. Take care of yourselves. Be well. And like I said, enjoy the playoffs. And we will talk to you next time with another brand new live episode of Strong Style. Peace.